Now, San Antonio Living.
I personally have a 23-year-old son who I've had in treatment myself 2 or 3 times now. And I think you see kids getting worse and worse very quickly. And I think it's because maybe before it was, you know, if it was alcohol, it might take a lot longer. Now they're going straight to hard drugs. They can't get alcohol, but they can get heroin, they can get meth, they can get coke, you know? So these kids are doing it and they're burning out fast.
That is a soundbite from Mark with SOBA Texas talking about how easy it is for our kids to get their hands on drugs and what it does to them, what happens so quickly. This next half hour, we're here to help you. If you or someone you know is dealing with an addiction, whether it's alcohol, drugs, we are here to help you, to give you information. And of course, we're joined by our friends from SOBA Texas. Joining us from that end, Greg Hanley, CEO of SOBA Texas, Alex Dragici, Director of Operations of SOBA Texas, and Daniel Baldwin. Of course, you know he is an actor, but he's also a great spokesperson when it comes to talking about addiction and dealing with addiction. And we're always happy to have all of you and your insight as well, Daniel. It's good to see you guys.
We love being here.
You know what? I love having you here because the older I get, the more I learn. I mean, I was a kid at one time, right? We all were. We did our stuff, but it's different now. And it's different than what our parents had. It's different than what's out there for me and what's out there for my kids. It's different. And so I think it's so important to get the information out that there is help. There is a place to go. It's right here in the Texas Hill Country. And I know, Greg, you have done so much by bringing this treatment facility here to San Antonio. Let's talk a little bit about what drives you. Why do you do this?
Well, I have a family history, and I'm in recovery myself, and it's kind of like going through it is, there was just something that had activated inside. And I originally just opened a clubhouse, so I had a place to hang out. And I discovered that there was things that were missing in the recovery community that made people fail, and that a lot of it was just motivated by the money. And it just it needed a little bit of some help. And so I figured out some of the problems that I saw. I went into treatment one time, and I've been sober almost 10 years now. And I just kind of took a look at what was being offered, and I actually had a guy that asked me to invest in a treatment center, and he was showing me that 40% of their clients were return. And then I had realized that it was designed to fail because they could get paid over and over again. So we created a model that people could afford. It's and it has a combination of a lot of things. We're 12-step base. We have medical, psychiatric, social, spiritual, and it's long-term, and it works.
And Alex, I know you're taking a lot of those phone calls. You are seeing people come through the door. When they leave, you don't want them to come back. I mean, that is the goal, right? We don't want them to come back. We want to have a successful program that helps them and continues to help them.
Well, it depends what you mean by don't come back.
We want you to come back to visit, but not to stay.
Part of our program is the fact that they can come back. So some people, because they might be going back to school, they have a job, they have to get back to family, they end up leaving, and then that's when they're part of the outpatient program.
Right.
So they get to see the same doctors, the same therapists, the same case managers, the same familiar faces, and interact with the people they were there with. And if they're at home, they get to come back, whether it's 3 days a week, twice a week, 5 days a week, and they get the exact same support they had. And this is ongoing for up to a year. There's some people at the the Malibu facility that have been there for coming on 2 years now.
How important is that aftercare to a program like this?
It's imperative. For me, I had been to 9 rehabs with the usual model in the beginning of the 28, 30-day stay, which is a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. And then I advanced and stayed longer. But here's the problem. Excuse me. You raise your child. You don't send your child out at 12 years old into the world and say, hey, good luck with the stuff I taught you. And that's really the analogy that applies to going to rehab. The cobwebs have now been cleared some. You're a little more stable. You're eating. I mean, really basic stuff. Sleeping better, eating better. You feel better. Your hygiene, things like that. And then you're sent out with all these nice catchphrases that you really don't feel yet. You are just barely processing them mentally, and sent out in the world to walk by a liquor store, to be around those people. The aftercare with housing that was given to me as an option when I went through SOBA, I stayed for 18 months. And believe me, it was all the difference to come back to a safe environment and be able to be around people that were in the same position as me in varying levels and say, I saw a guy today that I used with. I saw, and have a place to go process that and not hold on to those things where you start to feel yourself like, I'm not doing well today. It was a safe environment of commonality.
And it's interesting that you mentioned it. You started out with a clubhouse, because I think that's a great analogy. You want to find a place where you feel welcome and where you feel like you've got a team to help you through it. And that's what SOBA is all about.
Yeah, and Alex was saying that I have people in California that went through 7 years ago that still show up. We have an alumni group on Thursday night, and in our recovery, people take a cake when they get a year, and I have people that, and now that we've been doing this because the company it's grown as needed.
Sure.
So it started as a sober living, then we added detox, then we added outpatient, then we added residential, then we learned how to accept insurance, and it was just not having to turn people away. And over that length of time, people come in who are getting cakes for 5 years, 6 years, 4 years on a weekly basis and just check in. The other thing is that people stop when they've left treatment. They'll just, when they need kind of a safe spot, they'll just cruise up, and they know they can, in San Antonio, come sit at the ranch for an hour and just kind of let the dust settle. And that helps a lot.
Well, it's right here in the Texas Hill Country. There is a place where you can get help and information. It's called SOBA Texas. The number is at the bottom of your screen. We've got more when we come back.
Right when we were on 30 days, I wanted to get high. That's what I wanted to do. And if I would have left here, say at 28, 30 days, I would have relapsed.
That is Doug, and he's joining us here on the couch along with Greg Hanley, Alex Stergici, actor Daniel Baldwin. It's good to see you. Thanks for, we made a little room for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
So that was interesting. You were talking about going through the program, and a lot of programs last 30 days. Had your program lasted 30 days, what would have happened?
I would have probably gotten drunk on the way home.
So that's why you guys choose not to follow the 30-day program. Greg, why is that important?
Well, 30 days doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
I'm just getting on my feet. I meet my therapist for a week, and I'm going to deal. And 30 days might work if drugs and alcohol were the problem.
Right.
But it's not the problem. There's underlying issues that are going on, and they take time for you to be able to develop a rapport, develop a trust with people, and to go through some things to learn how to live life differently.
Sure.
We're used to living in a way that you kind of got to reset it.
Right.
And I know that my spirit was broken when I had gone into treatment, and I needed to rebuild that. You don't go from zero esteem to anything in 2 weeks.
Right.
It just doesn't happen.
And Greg brings up, well, two things. One, he's always so modest when you ask him these questions. He's somebody who, in the business world and in life, has been a problem solver. So he looked at the things that he saw. Remember, when you're struggling to stay sober and you're watching friends die, I mean, not stay sober, we're missing friends, all of us.
Yeah.
So he looked at that and he said, why is this? What's not working? And he broke it down. And when he broke it down, he decided to make those types of changes. But one of the biggest ones and most significant about SOBA is SOBA tries to help you get to the root
Right.
of what it is you're drinking over and what it is. Because disease is dis-ease. And so there is true dis-ease in all of us. Having that trust being broken by some of the pillars of trust in your life is not something that in 2 weeks you're going to be able to say, oh yes, doctor, and here's what happened at home when I was 10. You know, and it doesn't have to be some traumatic abuse issue, as you'll hear from Carter later, who's got far more experience than we do in dealing with those issues. He will tell you a very surprised number of things that can be instrumental in leading to drug addiction and alcoholism.
Well, Doug, how important was that in your recovery, finding the root problem, dealing with that problem?
Well, I mean, I can say it took about 4 to 5 months to really get down to the root issues, to where I was able to be honest with myself. When I came into treatment, I can say I was truthful, so I would tell the truth if you called me out on what was really going on. But it was a process to really get to that point to where I could honestly say that, yes, I'm ready, yes, I need, this is what happened, and this is the honest truth. And, you know, at 30 days, I was looking back on my treatment, I was at the point where I was like, okay, I had a prescription drug problem. I'm not an alcoholic. But, you know, if I were to drink, I'd say, oh, pill's a good idea, you know?
Right.
And I didn't understand that at that time. I thought everything was separate.
When you left SOBA, what did you walk out the door with? What kind of tools did you have that you used?
He never left. He works there now. We can't get rid of this guy.
Oh, look at that. I love that. What are you armed with now to deal with this kind of stuff?
To deal with, I mean, the big thing that I carry with me, I mean, that helps me on a daily basis is waking up in the morning and not being full of regret. So I can say, oh, you know, last night I really missed out because I got drunk and I got high and you know, I didn't miss out. I get to wake up every single morning grateful that I didn't get loaded the night before, and it's an awesome feeling, you know, and I get to have a life today that's beyond my wildest dreams. I get to do things that I never thought were possible.
I'll tell you what, if this is the life that you want to have, there is a place here in San Antonio that can help you. These guys have gone through it, and they're here to help. That place is SOBA Texas. It's in the Texas Hill Country. The number is there on your screen. We've got more when we come back. Welcome back to San Antonio Living. We've been chatting with our friends from SOBA Texas. Just opened a new facility in Boerne. Who is this for? Tell me about it real quick.
Well, it's for anybody who is looking for help, or if they're too scared to fully check into rehab, or for moms, or anybody who's in school or has a day job, or kids. We have a morning, afternoon, and evening outpatient group.
SOBA Texas. It's here in the San Antonio area.